Biden's red line intact. White House addresses Israeli operations in Rafah. In recent developments, Israeli forces have intensified their operations in Rafah, following an airstrike that resulted in a devastating fire, claiming the lives of numerous Palestinians. The White House has maintained that its ally, Israel, has not violated the red line set by the Biden administration. This boundary pertains to the scale and nature of Israel's military actions in Gaza, specifically to avoid a major ground invasion. On Tuesday, Israeli tanks were observed advancing into central Rafah for the first time, eliciting widespread condemnation over the fatalities in a densely populated tent camp for displaced civilians. This escalation coincides with the suspension of U.S. aid deliveries to Gaza by sea due to damage inflicted on its temporary pier. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby addressed reporters, asserting that the United States is not ignoring Israel's operations in Rafah, from where about 1 million Palestinians have fled in recent weeks. Kirby emphasized that the Biden administration does not view Israel's actions in Rafah as constituting a major ground operation, a scenario that would breach President Joe Biden's warnings and potentially lead to a halt in U.S. weapons shipments to Israel. Kirby clarified that a major ground operation involves thousands and thousands of troops moving in a maneuvered, concentrated, coordinated way against a variety of targets on the ground. He stated that the current Israeli operations do not meet this definition. A U.S. official similarly conveyed to NBC News that the recent deadly strike in Rafah, while tragic, appears to have been a result of an airstrike gone horribly wrong, rather than a deliberate, large-scale incursion. President Biden had previously articulated to CNN, "I made it clear that if they go into Rafah, they haven't gone in Rafah yet. If they go into Rafah, I'm not supplying the weapons that have been used historically to deal with Rafah, to deal with the cities that deal with that problem." This stance reflects a cautious approach to ensure that U.S. support does not facilitate actions leading to widespread civilian casualties. When questioned about the presence of Israeli tanks near central Gaza and how this did not equate to a full-scale ground operation, Kirby noted that Israeli officials had communicated that their tanks were traversing the Philadelphia corridor, a strategic area along the Egypt-Gaza border, rather than penetrating deeper into the town. Kirby stated, "That's what the Israelis have said. We're going based on what the Israelis are telling us and what they're saying publicly and what we're able to discern, as best we can." This clarification comes shortly after an Israeli airstrike ignited a fire in Rafah's Tal al-Sultan neighborhood, resulting in at least 45 fatalities, including children. Local health officials reported the tragic loss, which has intensified international pressure on Israel. The United Nations top court has ordered Israel to cease its offensive in Rafah, and the UN Security Council is poised to vote on a draft resolution demanding an immediate cessation of Israeli operations in Gaza. In response to these events, Israel has submitted a new ceasefire proposal to Qatari, Egyptian, and American mediators, according to an Israeli official. This proposal offers a sustainable calm, rather than a complete cessation of hostilities, a demand put forth by Hamas. Bassem Naim, a senior Hamas official, stated that Hamas had not received any such proposal from the mediators. During a briefing, Israel Defense Forces spokesman Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari explained that the IDF is still investigating the airstrike, including the cause of the fire that led to the significant loss of life. Hagari mentioned that the IDF targeted 2 senior Hamas militants with 17 kilogram, 37.5 pound, munitions, and unexpectedly, a fire was ignited. He suggested that weapons stored in the vicinity might have sparked the fire, although this remains an assumption. Both an Israeli and a U.S. official indicated the possibility that a struck fuel tank could have caused the blaze. The horrific images from the strike have increased pressure on the U.S. to intervene. When asked how many charred corpses President Biden needed to see before altering policy, Kirby expressed offense, insisting, "We don't want to see a single more innocent life taken." The U.S. had previously cautioned Israel against launching a full-scale ground invasion of Gaza, following Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's announcement of such plans. Despite this, Israeli ground troops entered the Gaza Strip in late October with minimal public attention, initiating a ground offensive that has resulted in over 36,000 deaths, according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Israel's offensive was a reaction to the attacks by Hamas on October 7, which led to the deaths of approximately 1,200 people and the capture of about 250 others, based on Israeli reports. Around 125 hostages are believed to remain in Gaza, with an estimated one-third of them presumed dead. President Biden's red line warning bears a resemblance to former President Barack Obama's similar statement in August 2012 regarding the use of chemical weapons in the Syrian civil war. This historical parallel underscores the gravity and potential implications of the current U.S. position on Israeli military actions in Gaza. As the situation evolves, international scrutiny and diplomatic efforts continue to shape the narrative and outcomes of the conflict in Gaza, with the U.S. playing a pivotal role in mediating and influencing the course of events. The ongoing violence and humanitarian crisis highlight the urgent need for a resolution that ensures the safety and well-being of civilians caught in the crossfire.